All right, guys, good morning and happy Monday. Hope you all had a great weekend as always. All right, thank you, Lorna, on the sound check. All right, y'all, quick look here at the futures. Everybody's a little bit quiet. We got the S&Ps flat, the NQ flat, Bitcoin up about a quarter, gold futures up 0.3, and then silver down a bit and the RUT down a bit. Futures are recovering from a weekend of partying. But all right, looking at the big three sheet. There we go. All right, guys, so first things first, are we in a bullish, bearish, or neutral market? And spreadsheet says you're in a neutral market, which is a lot of progress. Go back 1, 2, 3 weeks ago, scores leaned a lot more bearish. So back to a neutral board here. The indexes are as neutral as possible. Big 10 basket is at 23% of max strength, and the sectors are only at 12% of max strength. So I don't think a market where you wake up, you buy calls, go and hit the beach all day. I think a neutral market makes for a great short-term focus. I'm not thinking 2, 3, 4 weeks out. I'm trying to think like 2, 3, maybe 4 days out. And then for the indexes, QQQ with a 15 out of 120, which again, that's not going to knock your socks off, but it's a little bit better than a negative 70. So Q's back to positive, S&Ps have a positive 11, Dow Jones negative 7, and the IWM a negative 18. I'm not looking for calls that expire in June, July. Give me good looking 5-minute, 15-minute, 30-minute squeezes. We can take those for a short-term idea. And then the Big 10 names. Netflix, really impressive. And I hope a few of you guys and gals caught Netflix last week. 114 out of 120. And they went and fired the weekly squeeze. They fired the 3-day squeeze, 2-day squeeze. Netflix fired all the squeezes. Broadcom with a 63. Tesla, pretty good move there for Tesla back on Friday. 39 points out of 120. And everything from there really neutral. Microsoft a 15, Amazon 11. You got Apple 6, Nvidia 6. So I'm thinking Netflix, Broadcom, Tesla might be the three to keep an eye on. And then down here for the sectors, Bitcoin. The Bitcoin futures still have that big weekly squeeze. GBTC with 85 points. Gold, decent little pullback in gold last week. Bigger picture, the thing still looks really bullish. Gold with 71 points. Silver with 70. XLU 46. And then, where's financials? Financials have 21 points. So pretty neutral. The Big 10 basket, 15 points. XLK, 11 points. And the semiconductors with only 2 points. Transport's pretty soft. Energy, negative 32. And then the top 10 bull names would be up here. You've got Melly, Philip Morris, Take-Two, Netflix, Palantir, ZS, Crowd. Crowd looks pretty good. MicroStrategy, really nice weekly squeeze for MicroStrategy. Berkshire, Mickey D's, and a few more. And then the bearish names would be Pepsi, TMO, ODFL, UNH. UNH had a pretty big gap down on earnings. You've got UMP, BMY, Comcast, Intel, and Procter & Gamble. In my thinking for now, again, short-term thinking, I think the Bulls made enough progress last week. If they can keep that progress in the short term, trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. Meaning I'm a little bit less concerned about, till things change, trying to short a Pepsi, trying to short a Procter & Gamble, the Comcast. If the Bulls can keep the progress they've made, and then better yet, go and build upon that progress, I'm a little bit more focused on, all right, can I go catch 15-minute, 30-minute squeeze in Netflix? Can I find a spot to buy some Palantir, some Crowd, some MicroStrategy? All the above. And then in terms of the progress that Bulls made last week, I think one part of that has got to be the VIX here. Finally got the VIX back below 30, got it back below the 21 EMA. And I would like to get a few more, but we are getting a couple of sell signals. 1 hour sell on the VIX and a 30-minute sell on the VIX. Now, that short-term focus on the buy side, I think you got to can the idea trying to get long if the VIX pops and gets back above 30. All right, back above 30 with a 15-minute, 30-minute buy signal, not going to be a great thing for the Bulls. So ideally, VIX is down here at 25. Better yet, working down to 22, 21, all the way back where she came from. So better action from the VIX, and then index-wise. And here's the thing, guys. If you look at the S&Ps, QQQ, IWM, Dow Jones, and then even of a lot of those leading big tech, big semiconductors, they don't have great looking weekly charts, and they don't have great looking daily charts. That'll take a lot more progress here from the bulls. Short-term thinking, all right, a couple of things are trying to come together. So all the problems started back here in February. It was all good until late February. All right, you get your 21 EMA under the 50, aka the death cross. We get our momentum line, the MACD, back below zero. So your structure takes a hit, your momentum takes a hit, and that kicks off a bit of a downtrend. Right, we're flushing, popping, flushing, popping. Looking at the action from last week, for the first time since February, finally getting that momentum line back above zero. And also for the first time since February, two good strong closes back above your daily 21 EMA. Right, doesn't put you back into a bull market, doesn't fix all the issues. We're not getting daily and weekly buy signals. Short-term thinking says the bulls have fought enough here in the short term to maybe bring that immediate bleeding to an end. A really classic downtrend stuff. You flush, you rally back to a falling 21 EMA, big rejection, right back down. You rally, big rejection, right back down. Now they're getting some progress. Momentum turn, couple of good closes, and a couple of lower time frame buy signals. And now I think they totally dropped the ball if we end up back below the daily 21 EMA. So take your S&Ps, take your QQQ, and take the VIX. If they can keep VIX below the 21 and the S&Ps and QQQ above their 21, I think bulls have got something to work with. Not going to look for a push back to an all-time high. If they keep the progress they've made, can we get QQQ back into 480, 485? I don't think asking for too much. It's that'd be the first rally back into the falling daily 50. Would also be the first push back into the now falling weekly 21. And like I said, we don't have great looking weekly charts. You got your momentum break, you have a -3, and you also got that death cross. Weekly 21 under the weekly 50, kind of leads me to believe if they do get towards that 480, 485, we'll figure it out when we get there, if we get there. But coming off that fresh weekly death cross, they might pump it into 480, 485. Could one be a great spot to take profits on our longs? Could also two be a good spot. Getting a couple of 5-minute, 15-minute sell signals up there. You maybe nibble on a few of those cheap out the money puts, just in case we break, rally, rejection, and back down she goes. But decent progress there for the Qs, and then to the S&Ps, same thing. It's not a bullish daily chart. We have -6 points. Decent signs of progress after the breakdown in February. Momentum break, structure break, 21 under the 50, and they're walking the bad boy down. All right, flush, 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 rally back, rejection, big flush, big pop, rejection. Now they're getting momentum. Now they've got two good closes back above their 21 EMA. Call it 5,400 SPX. We go and get a dip today, tomorrow, Wednesday. If they can hold their ground above the 5,400 strike, I think you're looking for a push into 5,600, 5,650. Right, not a crazy move, not some massive breakout. That would be about maybe an average true range move and change. Above your 21 EMA, lower time frame buy signals, VIX going lower, I think we could get that. We lose our buy signals, VIX begins to pop, and we break under 54. I think you got to can the idea of being long anything. Maybe go get long the VIX at that point. But yeah, guys, decent progress last week. And then let's check the IWM. What I want to buy that for, would I want to take that and buy some calls 50, 60 days out to expiration? Sit back, swing trade it, and enjoy the show? Probably not. It's a -8, neutral trend, bear structure, bull momentum. All right. Could I look for an entry above my 21 EMA, and then maybe over the course of 2, 3, 4, 5 days, try to catch a pop back into 199, 200? Yeah, that might work. Below that 21 EMA, can't think about buying it. And then I think Dow Jones is a little bit left behind here. Yeah, so Dow's got a little catch up to play. Got to get 2 closes back above the mean. Got to get that momentum shift. But for now, the S&P's and QQQ trying to lead the charge. All right, and from that, guys, jump over to a few of the Big Ten names. So Netflix ranks out really well on the spreadsheet. Just beautiful, beautiful move last week. If I could turn back the clock of time here, that 1 hour squeeze from last Monday, like couldn't get a better setup. Number one on the board, beautiful hourly squeeze, big weekly squeeze, bunch of buy signals. That kicks off a 980 into an $1,100 push. So I kind of feel like I might have missed the initial part of the push here. Maybe, just maybe. But another way to look at it, they just fired a weekly 3-day and a 2-day squeeze long. My preference is I'm back here near the 21 EMA buying those calls, catching the initial push. But I missed it. So now moving forward, now that they fired the squeezes, uh, it'll be more of a market thing. Like QQQ falls apart, S&Ps fall apart. Netflix might go down with them. If the indexes can catch a bid for a few more days, I'm thinking maybe Netflix up into 1150-ish. And my way to catch that would be through some 5-minute, 15-minute, 30-minute squeezes. And looking like for now, we're going to open up pretty flat here for Netflix. 1099 at the open. So we should open up here in this big 15-minute squeeze. All right, got the initial push, pushing. And then Netflix spends, pretty much all day Friday just catching its breath. Not really breaking out, not really breaking down, just 15-minute squeeze, 15-minute squeezing. If there is an immediate path from 1100 into 1125, 1150, could come from that 15-minute squeeze firing long. So Netflix, I am looking for continuation plays. And then who else we got? Don't forget, we're getting into the heart of earnings season. And we had, let's see, Apple. Apple making the same signs of progress. Not a very bullish daily chart, but better than going back, even going back like 2, 3, 4 days ago. Momentum shift, couple of good closes, couple buy signals. But now for Apple, we have earnings coming up on Thursday. I believe Amazon too. So this one's a tough one to read until earnings. We have a 1 hour, 30-minute, 15-minute, 5-minute squeeze. So no, could be a case of market opens, QQQ catching a bid, S&P's catching a bid. Maybe Apple takes that 5-minute, 15-minute, 30-minute squeeze, tries to get a bit more of a push going into the announcement. Could also be a case of all day Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Apple's in a bit more of a holding pattern, just kind of chopping back and forth in the squeezes. Then we get earnings, and then the following morning, we get all the fireworks. So I'll keep an eye on that one, and then let's go see Amazon. Yeah, Amazon earnings May 1st. Same thinking. Momentum shifted, couple of good closes. Into earnings, give me a really good 15-minute, 30-minute squeeze. Maybe jump in, call for a quick pop. My real preference is going to be names like a Google, a Tesla, Nvidia. They've either already had earnings or earnings are a few weeks down the road. A few weeks versus a few days. Speaking of Tesla, now in typical Tesla fashion, it did it in a pretty big way. But that's kind of the pattern I'm looking for on the S&Ps, QQQ, etc. Momentum shift, couple of closes back above your 21, couple of decent lower time frame buy signals. Taking that, trying to call for a pop back into a falling 50. Your falling 50 on Tesla was 270. They gave you, extra 14, 15 points on top. But I think QQQ could make a pretty similar move. And again, that'd be back into 480, 481. And we bought some calls for that idea last week. We've got the May expiration 480 calls. We got them for about 560. They closed for about 9 on Friday, and we try to sell them for about 10. And my calculations say that'd be about an 80% profit. But now for Tesla, what do you do from here? And if you follow the call wall and the put wall levels here on the spreadsheet, they did pop the call wall up into $300, which could mean if the market's catching a bid here, 300 could be could kind of be like a magnet for the price. Big round number, big sexy target, big psychological level. Now showing up here as a call wall from spot gamma could have that magnetic nature to it. So what I think you could do is they're going to open it around 290. But later today, later throughout the week, try catching it on 5-minute, 15-minute, 30-minute squeeze. If you're up here at 298, I don't think you bother. If you could catch that lower time frame squeeze entry around 285, 290-ish, I think you could catch a nice $10, $15 pop out of that. Just make sure you anchor to the indexes first. Watch the VIX first, watch a QQQ first. If they confirm the bulls have got a little edge here, then you look for a shot in Tesla. From that, we can jump to Nvidia real quick. So Nvidia, I'm looking around this 115-ish. Same idea as a QQQ, same idea as Tesla. Momentum shift, couple of good closes. If they can hold their ground above, we'll call it 107. I want to look for a 5-minute, 15-minute, 30-minute squeeze. They got a little 5-minute here before the open. But I'll look for a lower time frame squeeze. I will wait for a white arrow. White arrow meaning A plus setup. And then can I catch a push into, that 115-ish, maybe a bit higher? Call wall for Nvidia is up there, I believe, 120. Yeah, 120 on the call wall, and then looking for a push into a $115. Might not happen at all, but it's also not a huge request. It's about maybe half of an average true range move. So for all these ideas, guys, put the indexes first. Watch your internals. If I want to go buy a Tesla, Google, etc., I'm looking for decent ticks. Plus 4, 5, 600. I want a good advanced decline. Plus 500, plus 1,000, and then the lower on the VIX, the better. The internals are doing the opposite. Ticks down here, minus 800, minus 1,000. Advanced decline down here to negative reading. VIX is popping. Maybe hold off on buying those calls. But all right, y'all, quick walkthrough of the indexes, the main watch list, and then let's see, futures. 15-minute on the NQ, trying to shape up for a push. You can do it, NQ. That is that good stuff, guys. That good. All right, 15-minute white arrow, perfect score, A+. Selfishly, I would love if they can break that long. Get a little push going here on the QQQ and get me filled on my calls. Would be quite swell. But all right, guys, a few more names for you. One here would be the Bitcoin futures. And like I mentioned last week, it'll be a patience thing. These are not 5-minute, 15-minute, 30-minute time frames. These are weekly, 3-day, 2-day time frames. The beauty when they get going in a bigger fashion, than a 5-minute, 15-minute. The only potential downside from a human brain perspective, they can take their sweet time getting going. But Bitcoin futures weekly 3-day, 2-day squeeze. Right now we're getting the slingshot arrow, and that says we don't have an A plus setup just yet. We could call it a B plus. Not the full shebang, but they're trying to get pretty close. We have really good trend. The wind at our back. We got really good structure. A good solid foundation to it. Momentum. Lacking momentum for a big push. So I think we're basically right back here. All right, June, July, August, September, October into November. Big weekly squeeze with good trend, good structure, lacking momentum. We get momentum from our MACD line back down here on the squeeze. Right, they pop it, they flush it, you're chopping, 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 then boom. All right, big breakout, no looking back. Bitcoin goes 70K into 110. You finally got full alignment. Really good trend criteria, really good structure criteria. Then you're getting momentum in a big weekly squeeze. You get your white arrow and off you go. So I think again with patience being the key word. At some point this year, I'm not going to put a time frame on it, but at some point this year, they keep on pushing, get that momentum shift. We'll get a white arrow, and I would call for a repeat. Build up all the energy, break it out, fire the squeeze. We could be here in a few months talking about Bitcoin into 120, 125K. Waiting on the white arrow. And then real quick look here at the 3-day squeeze. All right, that one is shaping up, and your 2-day squeeze here as well. Along the same lines, I like MicroStrategy. Now, they got earnings here in a couple of days, but from a weekly charts perspective, same exact thing. Big weekly squeeze setting up, all the trend, all the structure, got to get momentum. Which means we could be in a moment in time like back here. All right, in a weekly squeeze, getting the blue arrow. It's your first really good heads up. You've got a B plus, A minus setup. Then they turn momentum, then they break it out, and a beautiful move unfolds. That might be after earnings. That might be a couple of months down the road. Could also never happen. When I wake up and I got a white arrow on the weekly, I think makes for a potentially big swing trade. And then last one here for you guys here before I jump, Palantir. Again, earnings will be earnings on the 5th of May, but I think a really, really pretty weekly chart. All right, got a good trend going, pull back, print a squeeze, little chop, momentum shift, white arrow. Now, me personally, I don't like to trade these into earnings. Too much of a binary event, too much of a coin flip. You can have perfect structure, perfect signals, all the squeezes. Um, UNH looked pretty good before earnings, and then we all know what happened to UNH. But yeah, guys, few ideas for you. I like the Bitcoin weekly chart, MicroStrategy weekly chart. I like the Palantir weekly chart. And then you've all got a link here to the spreadsheet. So I would say, every night when the market closes, in the morning before the market opens, come take a fresh look here at the spreadsheet. I think a good habit to get into would be if things are leaning a bit more bullish, and they lean a lot more neutral right now. But if things lean a lot more bullish, take that watch list right there. Melly, PM, Netflix, Palantir, Crowd, all the above. Then take your favorite time frames. It could be a weekly chart, a daily chart, 30-minute, 15-5. Take the strongest names on the board, then go look for your go-to setup. For me, it's pretty simple. All right, I'm going to take these handful of names. I will throw them on my watch list columns. All right, now who's got an A plus setup? If it's Palantir on a 15-minute time frame, hey, that can make for a great day trade. If it's Crowd on the weekly chart, that can make for a great swing trade. We're trying to combine that one moment in time where you got to squeeze all the trend, all momentum, all that good criteria, and then finding that in a really good relative strength name. And I think that makes a really big difference. The same exact you could find the same exact 1 hour setup in Netflix and the SMH. Right, both in a 1 hour squeeze, both picture perfect. Well, Netflix has 114 points out of 120, and the SMH only has 2 points out of 120. Over the course of 25, 50, 100 plus trades, if you take that trade on Netflix, that'll work out in your favor a lot more than taking it on the SMH. Same exact hourly chart, bigger picture, Netflix much stronger than the semiconductors. So I would say get in the habit of that. And yeah, guys, buckle up. Shall not be a dull week ahead. Bulls making progress, trying to call for a little bit more upside. And then we got earnings coming up for Apple, Amazon, MicroStrategy. Shall not be a dull week. But all right, guys, I got to jump here. A little bit late for my next session, so I apologize for having to go. I'll be back here, same time, same channel next Wednesday, or this coming Wednesday, rather. And I'll be sure to leave a little bit more time for Q&A on Wednesday. But thank you again. Much, much appreciate all your time. I wish you all the best of luck. Folks in my room, I'm going to go heat up the coffee, and I'll catch you over there in about 2 minutes.